gimmicky fun for everyone. Sold
Leonardo, the katana blade. My God.
Attack the evil Inhumanoid, forcing him back into the earth.
Hey, the name's Boglins. You sold separately.
We battle our He-Man and Skeletor each sold separately. You put them out together.
Turn them into the light, and they change into even more powerful.
Battle against Lion-O and the new Thundercat ally.
Hammering this last light bulb. Ah! Whoa, hey, what? I heard screaming. Are you okay?
I just had a thought.
Oh, well, that would explain the screaming.
So, so the way you used to play video games, you know, if they're on cartridges, just put them in the console, hit play, you can go.
Yeah.
But my stuff, they're like on the computer. You gotta download them. You gotta maybe connect online. There's like no way to play them after a while, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, as computer systems change and evolve and operating systems move on, you just can't play the old games anymore. Like Funkeys. You remember UB Funkeys? You used to play that all the time as a kid. It just doesn't work anymore.
That's right.
What are you doing?
Oh,
you've got one right there. That's handy.
Funky.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got help. I need my funky fix.
What do you mean funky fix?
I need my funky fix.
Back up! When we speak of toys-to-life video games, most people think of the behemoth that was Skylanders. Some may have preferred LEGO Dimensions or Disney Infinity, Tron toys. But in our household, we always remember the originator of the modern toys-to-life genre, UB Funkeys. The game was developed by Radica and Arcadium for the PC and was set in the world of Funkeys Town. The main town was full of buildings, some of which could be entered to play mini-games. Completing the games would get you coins, which you could use to buy items for your crib. Your crib was your own personal apartment, and customizing it was an important part of the game. Around the town were several portals which could take you to new areas. Some of these were locked and could only be opened by playing with a character from that area. Other portals were broken, but as new expansions arrived, these portals would be fixed by the city engineers, and you now had new areas to explore. Every new area had a theme, but ultimately, all of the areas held a similar experience. You could play mini-games, get coins, and decorate your crib. Some areas did feature interactive gates or bridges, and occasionally you could find menial tasks to perform for other characters for more coins, though these were usually simple fetch quests. A few chat rooms did open that allowed for online interactions, though these were limited to pre-arranged text choices and emojis, and only allowed you to play one of the mini-games that you had previously unlocked, or gave you the ability to show off your crib to your new friend. The limited interactions were in the name of keeping kids safe online, because ultimately, this was meant to be a kid's game. One of the more controversial aspects of the game was the appearance of the villainous Master Lox and his henchmen. If you stayed in one area for too long, the henchmen would start to chase after you, and if caught, would force you into a minigame where you had to choose bags of money until you found a henchman icon and the game ended. The problem was that many of the bags held negative amounts, and you could lose several coins with each interaction with the henchmen. The purpose of this game mechanic is unclear, except, I guess, to force you to get out and explore, but it seems like some simple exploration and fetch quests would have done the job without the hassle of losing coins. Now, Radica Games Limited was a toy company created in 1983 that was best known for making little electronic handheld games like 20 Questions and various handheld poker and blackjack games. They were bought out by Mattel in 2006, and UB Funkeys was one of the products that Radica was developing when Mattel took control. Radica had turned to software developer Arcadium to design the virtual world, and the job presented to Arcadium was basically this. Give the game 4 main zones, give it 16 customized minigames, give it 30 stores for spending the coins, create the virtual crib space to customize, create more than 1,000 items to use to decorate those cribs, and get it all done in 10 months. Arcadium knew they had a lot of work to do, but looked at other minigame-focused success stories like Club Penguin for inspiration. They developed a world that could appeal to both boys and girls and had an original design aesthetic. And it had to balance a game so that kids who only got a few of the toys could have a lot of fun, but still felt encouraged to go and buy more. Yes, let's not forget about the toys, because not only were they a key part of the equation, but they were also incredibly unique in design and appearance. The toys took a note from the designer vinyl market. At the time, the market was small and not well known, but today it's probably best known by the Funko Pop vinyl line of figures. Each player needed to start with a hub, known as a UB. UBs were larger size Funkies that connected to the computer through a USB cable. On the back of each head was a cutout section with little magnets in the shape of the Funky's feet. Here, you could place your character Funky who would appear in the game. Variations of each character were made that showcased the collectability of the toys. Series 1 Wave 1 Xener, for instance, could be found with the common green head, the rare red head, or the very rare black head. When placed on the UB and transported into the game, the character would appear showing off which version you had. So, if you were able to find an ultra rare character, you'd be able to play as the ultra rare version in the game, and when you went online, you could show off to all your online friends how awesome you were. After showing at Toy Fair in the spring of 2017, Series 1 was released later that year and consisted of 2 waves of 14 characters with 3 variants of each. That's 42 figures at $4.99 a piece, or an investment of over $200. That's not to mention one of the UB Hub starter packs that started at $20, including 2 packs exclusive to the limited 2 stores which specialized in girls' clothing. Just in time for Christmas 2017, the Series 2 Funkeys Island characters were released. This time, only 4 more characters with their 3 variations were sent to stores, but these characters also unlocked an entirely new zone and more minigames. This wasn't all Series 2 had to offer. Mattel had struck a deal with Warner Brothers to release a set of Funkies based off the Speed Racer movie in the spring of 2008. I know, but at the time, people still thought the Wachowskis might be able to make a good movie, even though the Matrix sequels were still fresh in everyone's minds. The Speed Racer wave added 6 Speed Racer characters and another UB, but due to licensing restrictions, rare and ultra-rare variations were only allowed to have slight tweaks instead of massive recolorizations, leading Mattel to label the rarity of each character directly on the packaging. Later in the summer of 2008, the Dream State Waves 1 and 2 were released. Wave 1 once again only added 4 new characters and some UBs, but Wave 2 added 6 more, and all unlocked the Dream State Zone and minigames. Along with these were the Chat Funkies. These 4 figures weren't sold in any variations for the collector's market, since they were designed more for adding functionality to the game. Now you could finally chat, play multiplayer games, and show off your crib to your online friends. At San Diego Comic-Con, Hidden Realm was first unveiled, and a special Funky known as Dot was released. This wasn't the first odd release in the Funky line. Besides the previously mentioned UBs at Limited 2, there were adventure packs, first for Funky's Town, featuring Mayor Say-So, Master Locks, and the Henchmen, only available at Kmart, and the Funkeys Island Adventure Pack, featuring the Pineapple King, Jerry Pearl, and Funkeys Native, which was exclusive to Target. Toys R Us got an exclusive Dream State UB, while UK retailer Argos got a black UB for Dream State. Wendy's even got in the fun at one point with the Funkeys Kids Meal, which featured either a Wendy's-designed character as a bobblehead or a backpack clip. Neither one had any game functions, but they did come with a CD-ROM of minigames and a 3D puzzle. And again, as Christmas rolled around, Mattel released the Hidden Realm expansion. As was the usual format, only 4 characters were released in their 3 variants each, and the new zone was unlocked. Curiously, fans noticed that the new zone was only available by an airship parked on the outskirts of Funky Town, not by portal, and the zone itself had no portals to any other zones. This was odd, as the portals had previously been the main mode of transportation between worlds. Something was clearly going on behind the scenes, but the implications wouldn't be clear for several more months. At Toy Fair 2009, Mattel showed off the next expansion, Paradox Green, along with a new expansion featuring characters from DC Comics. Paradox Green promised not only a new zone and new characters, but also a tool set, unlocked with new Funkeys that would allow you to make your own games and share them with friends. Ultimately, Paradox Green arrived in July of 2009 and turned out to be the final Funkeys release. The games created in the tool set were extremely limited in customizability, and the DC characters never saw a retail release. One of the biggest problems with Funkeys was the software. As Skylanders later showed, you need to get your game on as many platforms as possible. UB Funkeys wasn't on any home game console, handheld console, or mobile system. It was only available on PC, and keeping up with the PC market was proving to be difficult. When it was originally coded, the game ran on Windows XP Service Pack 3, but was released around the same time as Windows Vista. The game was updated to keep working on both XP and Vista, but Vista only lasted on the market for 2 years before being replaced with Windows 7, and UB Funkeys did not play well with Windows 7. The game required quite a bit of reworking to run on Windows 7, and it was also at this time that more home users were moving into the 64-bit home computing market. 64-bit meant that the game had to be reworked again to keep working with newer computers. Essentially, the programming team had to go from supporting one version of Windows to 4 in the span of just over 2 years. On top of that, the UBs, those hubs with the holes in their heads for attaching the little Funkeys you wanted to play with, were notoriously unreliable. The metal contacts on the hub were supposed to connect with the metal contacts on the Funky, and the connection would allow the hub to read which Funky it was and display them in the game. A set of magnets helped the connection to hold it in place and, in theory, to keep the connection from breaking. However, it never quite worked that well after the first couple weeks of play. The Funky would be placed on the UB hub, and the game would give an error message that it couldn't connect. The Funky needed to be removed, placed back on the UB, and if you were lucky, you would only have to do this about 3 or 4 times each time you swapped a character. In our household, we were constantly cleaning the contacts, breathing heavily on them like a pair of smudged eyeglasses, and just flat out attempting to will them to work. Even though the Funkeys experience wasn't perfect, it was still a huge part of both my children's childhood, which makes it a huge part of my life as well. When other kids were watching cartoons or playing sports, my kids were playing Funkeys. They literally played the game almost daily for several years, and I can still remember the sadness in my son's eyes when he realized the line was canceled and no new toys were coming to the store. As we stood in the Target toy aisle in 2010 and looked at the final few remaining packages with clearance tags on them, I walked away and gave him a moment to say goodbye to the toy line he loved so much. It's been over 10 years since the UB Funky servers went offline, but we still have them on display in the house, and we still talk about them all the time. Okay, so that is UB Funkeys. There's the history. We've kind of teased about we were going to do this episode for a while now, and now that we're finally back and doing new episodes, we figured now is the time to do it. So there you go. There's UB Funkeys. That was one of your favorite toy lines growing up with a built-in video game. Toys to Life is what they call it. So what do you remember most about Funkeys? Like, what was it that really drew you in? Do you remember?
I think it was just the different amount of characters, because each, I guess, species feels wholly unique, and a lot of them really don't feel like they go right next to each other. Like, you have the frogs, and then right next to them you have the people who are all about war and making machines and killing people.
Like a devil. Mm-hmm. There's a devil, and then there's like a cow. You've got a cow and a devil that go side by side, and it doesn't make any sense.
Not technically side by side. They're from different subsections of the world.
Well, but still. So we also after we filmed everything and we were cleaning up and we were getting ready to sit down and actually film the live part, we actually found something else, another piece of memorabilia. Oh, you pulled the head off, but it turns out it's supposed to, because it's the thumb drive. And it's the thumb drive of this guy. Do you remember what this guy's name was?
No, I just always called him the devil.
Because he is a devil guy. I'm sure we'll find it. We'll put it up on the screen. But that is something that we had. And actually, there was an app years ago called Portable Apps. And Portable Apps, I mean, it still exists, but you would put it on a thumb drive, and then you could install something like a web browser. You could install some games. You could install like your email client and stuff like that. So you could go to someone else's computer, plug in your thumb drive, and you had all of your own files right there. So like you could go to work, you'd plug it in, you had your own web browser with all your favorites and all that stuff on it. And actually, Pixel Dan, when he went on his honeymoon, his wedding gift, one of the things I got him was one of these Funkeys. The other one looked like the Panda Bear.
And I see we kept the cool one.
And so got him the Panda Bear, and I put Portable Apps on it, and I put all of the apps he needed, so that way he could take it home, just sign in, put in all of his information, and then when he went on his honeymoon, he could just go up to one of the computers on the cruise ship, because this was back in like 2009, 2010.
So 10 years ago?
Something like that, yeah. And he could just plug it right in, and then boom, he had his own web browser, and he could check his email and do all of that stuff without having to worry about signing in with their stuff and worrying about the security on their computers and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's just a little off. You can tell that it's just a little bit shorter, but nonetheless, it's kind of neat that they made these.
I think it may be a little bit shorter than this one. I can't really tell though.
I don't know. Side by side though, if you stack them,
yeah,
it's kind of close. But anyway, yeah. So. UB Funkeys. Now, that's not all about Toys to Life, of course. We also mentioned Lego Dimensions and Disney Infinity, which we will be covering on this week's episode of Video Game Losers. So make sure you come back on Wednesday to check for that. And then Skylanders, of course, was the giant behemoth of a game in there. That will be coming next Saturday. So you got a lot of filming to do to get ready for that. So
where are our Skylanders?
They're all in bins over.
Oh, right here. Oh.
One Skylander. That's all we're going to show.
Yep.
And it's Hex. It's Hex as a package.
Oh, we have about 50 of them because they were on sale. Buy 2, get 3 free at 30 cents a pop at Toys R Us.
Yeah. So Skylanders got overplayed. Got really overdone for a while.
And it's still never officially been canceled. So I'm still waiting on Skylanders 7 to come out. You know.
Yeah. Did they ever officially cancel the cartoon? Okay, so now there's not a lot of stuff for mailbag because I replied to everybody's messages because I knew it was going to be a long break in between episodes. There are a couple things for Gamer, but we're going to save those for Video Game Losers because they are video game questions, so we'll answer those in the mailbag there. So if you have any other video game questions for Gamer, or I guess for me too, whatever, if you got video game questions, you can ask those. We will answer those on Video Game Losers. Other toy questions, comments, feel free to throw them down below or email us. But something I did want to bring up real quick. I did manage to look at all of the Masters of the Universe Origins figures out there, and I ended up only buying one, and that was Man-at-Arms. I bought Man-at-Arms mainly because he's got the mustache. And that was like, okay, all right, then I have to buy him because he has the mustache. Because the only other really mustache version in that classic Squatty Potty style is the animated one from Super 7. So now I've got both of those, and you can see how they go together there. See, that one's simplified for like the cartoon, and then that's the new Origins one. But honestly, I looked at the other figures. I'm never going to buy the Tila and Evil Lyn. I just don't like that style of figure. The face on He-Man's kind of derpy. The Skeletor, I'll eventually buy one to have it disco customized. Intern Rick, I was talking to him about the Skeletor, and he actually, because the mouth is open on it, so Skeletor is like, like in the middle of a laugh or something. And so he said if you actually run it under hot water and you get it so it's nice and pliable, you can actually push it to close the mouth.
Why would you want to close the mouth?
And then run it under cold water, and it'll hold in that shape. So I may end up trying that. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Why would you want to do that?
I don't like the open mouth. It just looks silly.
You can like put stuff in there, like a Funky.
But yeah. So I like Man-at-Arms, and Man-at-Arms will go good on the Sky Sled. So he'll eventually end up on there, displacing Prince Adam. But I do like Man-at-Arms, and especially with the mustache. But I mean, some of the other Beastman. I've got an original Beastman. I don't know what happened to my original Man at Arms, so I'm fine getting these. But as far as Beastman, I've got a vintage Beastman, so I don't need to replace them. So I'm waiting to see what the next round of figures are going to be, and I'll probably grab some of those. I did find the new wave of Masters of the WWE Universe figures.
Well, who's that? Which one's that?
This is the Undertaker.
Oh.
This is the only one I ended up buying. Braun Strowman is again doing the Terror Claws gimmick, and it's basically the same gimmick that Triple H is already in. New Day is doing the Manny Faces gimmick, which...
Well, don't make fun of Manny Faces.
Yeah. Everybody loves Manny Faces. But I don't know, because the body types on those three guys are so different, and they made it into one figure, which, I don't know.
I want The Rock.
I saw The Rock...
He reminds me of Thor almost, with the lightning and then kind of like the hammer thing.
The lightning on his wrist, though, it looks like from the when they did the Superman Blue and Superman Red figures. That's what the lightning looks like on The Rock, which I know doesn't mean anything to you, but I looked at it. I don't care enough about The Rock to buy it, so I mean, it's like whatever. All of these figures, like this wave overall, it's fine. If I ever see these like on sale, or something, I would grab the other ones. It's not like I'm like, oh, I'm boycotting these figures, or anything like that. The Rock does come with a title belt, but I wasn't sure if that would actually come off easily, if it was one of those where you'd have to pull off. Apparently, you can take off some of the armor and stuff, but you have to like pop off the head in order to switch the armor and stuff, and I don't really want to do all of that stuff. But the one thing that's neat about Undertaker is he does glow. So like Scare Glow, which was a figure on the original Masters of the Universe. So you put him under a bright light, and then you turn off the lights, and he glows in the dark. So that's kind of cool.
Which we'll demonstrate now.
No, we won't. Oh. No, we're not. We're not. So anyway, so those are just some recent pickups, but I mean, otherwise, for the most part, just I looked at the new G.I. Joes, the new 6-inch Joes, and that's just not a line for me. I'm just not into that. I've heard they're coming out with new 4-inch figures, and those I'll be taking a closer look at. But $20 for a single G.I. Joe 6-inch figure, just it's too expensive for a single figure, and I'm not into 6-inch figures overall. 5.5 is where I draw the line. 5.5 is perfect. I'm just not into the 6-inch figures, and so I'll wait for those smaller ones to come out. I hope they're skinnier. They look more like the original small Joes that I remember from when I was a kid. Because I liked the stuff from when I was a kid. Just like you got to relive the stuff from when you were a kid this week.
Yeah. And next week. And also later this week, technically.
So Skylanders, you did play a lot with Skylanders. We did buy a lot of Skylanders.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, that's understating it.
But did you like Skylanders more than Funkeys, or is Funkeys more than Skylanders?
I think I preferred Skylanders more because it's more of like a beat 'em up game. There's a lot more action to it. Also, they came out with 6 games instead of just like 4 update packs.
But Funkeys you played when you were a little kid. Yeah. Like Skylanders you wouldn't have been able to play when you were 3 or 5 or whatever it was. I guess you were 3. No, I guess you were 4. You were 4 years old when we got the first Funkeys pack. So yeah.
I mean, and another thing with Skylanders is all the customizable characters. They all play differently, unlike Funkeys, where you just need a certain one to go into an area.
Unlock different things. So, all right. So we will talk more about Lego Dimensions and Disney Infinity this Wednesday on the Video Game Loser Show. We'll be back next Saturday to talk about Skylanders. If you have any more questions, comments, feel free to leave those below. Otherwise, you can leave us email messages. You can call our 24-hour voicemail line. You can find him on Twitch.
Yes.
You can find him on his own YouTube channel. Otherwise, that's going to do it for us, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Wow. You be funky.
naughty. Sleep. Your eyes are so tired, so very tired. They are beginning to close. You only want to close your eyes. Your eyes are so tired. It is so very hard to keep them open. Do not resist. Let them close.